Well, hey there, Mama, and welcome back to the Moms Overcoming Overwhelm podcast, episode 87. I'm Emily McDermott, and I'm here beside you on this journey as we work together to declutter your home, head, and heart. Well, Happy New Year to you. Happy 2024. I hope that you had a wonderful holiday celebrating with your family. And I don't know about you, I have kind of mixed feelings about the new year. I kind of like that new year energy, having my brand new planner, but I also sometimes reflect on the year and can sometimes feel disappointed about things I wanted to do or wanted to accomplish but didn't. And I know as an overwhelmed mom, you might be feeling that same way. So the question is, how can we look to 2024 with excitement without feeling overwhelmed, to be able maybe to have some goals, but not get caught up in all of the new year, new you excitement that makes us feel like we're not measuring up? Well, today we are going to be talking about the one mindset shift that is really helping me in this new year to overcome overwhelm and hopefully have my best year yet. So what do you say? Grab that notebook and pen and let's dive into today's episode. Hey there, Mama. Are you tired of all the stuff crowding your home, calendar, and mind? Do you wish you could say goodbye to the endless to-do lists running around in your head? Want to declutter but don't know where to start? You're in the right place. Welcome to Moms Overcoming Overwhelm, where you will find proven and practical solutions to declutter your home, head, and heart. Hi, I'm Emily, a wife, boy mom, and simplicity seeker. I struggled to get pregnant and felt overwhelmed until I discovered decluttering could create the physical and emotional space I needed to become a mom. Now, 2 kids later, I've transformed my life and motherhood by developing simple systems around decluttering, capsule wardrobes, kid stuff, cleaning and tidying, meal planning, time management, and more, and I can't wait to share them with you. If you're ready to reclaim the time and energy you crave, be present with your kids, and finally enjoy the life and motherhood you so deserve, let's kick overwhelm to the curb, shall we? Grab your lukewarm coffee, your notebook and pen, and clear up some counter space. Let's do this. Well, we're going to be starting the new year with a decluttering challenge in the Facebook group. We're going to be starting on Monday, January 8th, and keeping things very doable like we always have. It's going to be 15 minutes a day for 5 days. You can win prizes like a Starbucks gift card or perhaps free coaching with me. And so go ahead over to tinyurl.com/moms overcoming overwhelm. Answer the 3 questions I have for you there, and I will see you on the inside. I'm going to be spending this week making sure I have everyone approved, so that way we can go ahead and start all together on the 8th. Okay, so when it comes to the new year, maybe in the past you have done a word or phrase for the year. I really love this because it's a little bit more doable, I would say, than having a bunch of New Year's resolutions. And in the past, some of my words or phrases for the year have been surrender, make room, and last year for 2023, it was lay it down. Meaning that I want to make sure that anything that isn't serving me, that I'm laying it down, that I just release it. And so if any of those words or phrases resonate with you, feel free to take one of those. But this year, my phrase is 1% change, or just 1%. And what I mean by that is that I only have to make a 1% shift to change my life. And so I want to talk a little bit about that and how hopefully that can bless you as you are looking forward to your new year. Because what I find is if we get caught up in all of this new year, new you energy, then we want to change every area of our lives and we want to have this all or nothing perfectionist approach. Okay, so I'm going to spend the new year, I'm going to declutter my home and spend 3 hours a day doing it. Well, we know that's not realistic. And so sometimes we think, well, if I don't have 3 hours, I'm not even going to start. And we don't want to prevent ourselves from action. We want to be taking those small incremental steps. So why does 1% matter? I'm all about tiny shifts, tiny changes, because they are sustainable, because we can continue them over time. And also, we want to make sure that we're celebrating these tiny changes. I talked a little bit about this in episode 52, 5 decluttering misconceptions that are keeping you stuck in overwhelm. And there's this wonderful book called Tiny Habits by Fogg. And this is just a quote from his book. The essence of tiny habits is this: take a behavior you want, make it tiny, find where it fits naturally in your life, and nurture its growth. And the example that he gave was that he wanted to have a better habit about flossing his teeth. And so he started with one tooth. And most people think that's ridiculous. Why would you just floss one tooth? Well, by having that 1% change, that maybe the next day he did 2 teeth and so on and so forth, then he was able to make it so easy he couldn't say no. And in fact, a tiny habit, by the definition of Fogg, is that you can do it in less than 30 seconds. So when we're thinking about that 1% change, that 1% shift, what are some of the areas where we would want to incorporate that into our lives? For me, I struggle with drinking enough water. It's always been an issue for me. So let's say that I just drink 16 ounces of water, which is like 2 glasses of water, okay? Then the next day, I want to just increase that by 1%. And perhaps that's just a half of an ounce, which seems crazy, right? But it is something that is changing, and I can see that that's doable and then change it a little bit more. Maybe it might be decluttering, that right now you're not doing it at all. Is it possible that you could start with 5 minutes and know that, okay, for 5 minutes, I'm going to set that timer and see how it goes. And then the next day you do 6 minutes and so forth. The other really important aspect of this is celebrating. That's one reason why I have the Facebook group, so that we can celebrate these small wins, no matter how small. And sometimes we have these decluttering challenges, and someone might say, I didn't have a chance to declutter today, but I was able to do a reset of my kitchen counter. And we celebrate that because that is something that you're changing, right? And the High Five Habit, which is a book by Mel Robbins, talks about the science in our brain behind celebrating when we change these habits, because we're actually forming new neural pathways, and we're able to tell ourselves through these new neural pathways that this is a behavior that we want to continue. So if you want to learn more about that, check out episode 57, Want Your Routines to Stick, 3 habit hacks you have to try. Now, the king of habit change, in my opinion, is James Clear. If you've heard of his book, Atomic Habits, very famous in this space, and he is very much on board with this slight 1% shift concept. He gives an example in his book, which I love, the ice cube example. I'm going to just read this part to you right now. Okay, imagine that you have an ice cube sitting on the table in front of you, and you're in this very cold room that you can see your breath. It's 25 degrees in this room. And then ever so slightly, the room begins to heat up. 26, 27, 28, the ice cube's still there. 29, 30, 31, nothing happens. But what happens at 32 degrees? Fahrenheit. For all of my listeners that are using Celsius, we're talking about Fahrenheit, right? 32 degrees, what happens? The ice begins to melt. So that 1 degree shift, which seemed no different than the temperature before, right, has unlocked this huge change. And he says breakthrough moments are often the result of many previous actions which build up the potential required to unleash a major change. And another example of this is flying. So my dad actually flies recreationally, and I always grew up and was in his plane, the Cessna, which is pretty cool. But pilots are taught this 1 in 60 rule, which states that after 60 miles, a 1 degree error will cause the plane to be off course by 1 mile. In other words, if you were going the wrong direction by 1 degree and kept going, then you would be really far off course. But flipping that, if we make 1 degree towards where we want to go, then we can have a major impact and get us closer to where we want to be. So that is the power of the 1% change, the 1% shift. And so how do we incorporate this into our lives? Well, I'm glad you asked. I have this 3S formula that is going to help you with this. So the first S, small changes. Small changes. Making it so small, so tiny that you can't say no. You want more upper body strength? 1 push-up. You want to make sure that you are spending a little bit of time decluttering every day? throw away one thing that you don't use, right? So number one, or the first S, is small changes. Second, systems support your goals. I always say you need a system around your stuff. You also need a system around what you want to change. And how can we support that? Well, we want to put it into our schedule. When we start these decluttering challenges, I always say to people, what's your plan, right? When are you going to do this in your day? Is it when the kids are napping? Is it after they go to bed? Is it on your lunch break? And where are the things going to go? We want to have a plan and set it up in our schedule. We also want to have our environment conducive to what we want to do. So if we want to do a kitchen reset, for example, then we're going to be going around the kitchen, slowly putting things back in their place and kind of set up our environment for that. And third, we want to have accountability in place. And again, I talked about the Facebook group. Maybe you can have accountability buddy for fitness or something like that. It really helps to keep us on track. So the second S is systems. And the third one is stop relying on motivation. I hear so much from women in the Facebook group and they say, oh, Emily, I'm just not motivated. I'm not motivated. And, motivation is fleeting. It's very uncommon to feel motivated to do pretty much anything, I find. And even when we have this new year energy, that wears off. So we want to work on becoming disciplined instead. First, we want to remember our values and our why. So go back to episode 3, a little bit more about that. The second thing is we want to root our goals, these things we want to accomplish, in our identity, focusing on who we want to become rather than just what we're doing. So I tell myself, I am a person who values a tidy home. I am a person who values my health and my energy and my focus and attention. That is why I am making room for what matters most. And also remember that motivation comes from action. If you set that 1-minute timer, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, and you start going, inevitably, most likely you're going to find that you can do more and you want to do more. So act first and know that the motivation will follow. So I hope this episode was helpful as you're looking forward to the new year. And again, I would very much love for you to be a part of the Facebook group as we start this new decluttering challenge on January 8th. On Thursday, we're going to be talking to my podcast coach and mentor, Stephanie Gass, and we're going to be talking about intentionality, using our phones, social media, how it impacts our health, our ability to be present moms, and how she was able to deal with social media and phone addiction and some of the lessons that she can teach us so we can be more present and intentional moms in 2024. So I can't wait to see you there. Bye for now. If you like today's podcast, here's what you can do. Just take 30 seconds to leave me a review. I know you're a busy mama. You're overwhelmed, in fact, but 30 seconds of your day makes such an impact. I'll be blessed by your words. They'll definitely make my day. And who knows, you might be entered for this month's giveaway. In Apple Podcasts, scroll down to write a review. Thanks so much for your time. I'm so grateful for you.